This is a rare glimpse into an African capital city that few outsiders now get to see. In a country recalibrating its place in the world.
We're in Ouagadougou, the bustling capital city of Burkina Faso, a country We're in Ouagadougou, the bustling capital city of Burkina Faso, a country famously known for arts, culture, and African revolutionary thought. But in recent years, it's become one of the deadliest places in the world for terrorism. The people here are hoping that under the leadership of their charismatic young president, that they can find sovereignty, security, and freedom from their former colonizer, France.
The sub-Saharan Africans have to build everything from scratch. So it's understandable that in 60 years, they're losing, and even though they've made some progress and are changing and they're getting a lot of help from their newfound friends out east, a lot of the countries are doing well. Not Burkina Faso. I mean, you guys have just been internet Russian trolled to the max about Ibrahim Traoré. And I know some of you are going to be mad at me, and some of you are going to unsubscribe because the last time I talked about this dude, there was subscriber flight. But I stand by what I stand by because I believe in some fundamental principles that when not practiced, doesn't matter where it is in the world, they don't work. If any of you believe in the next 5 years, you're going to see a whole bunch of skyscrapers, mega roads, in that the most reddest soil in West Africa is right up there in Burkina Faso. Ask me how I know. I've been to Ouagadougou, and most of you haven't. I've been to Ouagadougou, and most of you haven't. I've known Burkinabés my entire life. How do I know them? They are my neighbors. I'm from a country that is right to the south of it. We give them access to the ports. They don't even have a port. They are landlocked. Burkina Faso even have a water problem. They are north of northern Ghana, and northern Ghana also has water problems. You know, they have a bit of gold, some iron ore, but it's not as mineral rich as their southern neighbor. But what does the southern neighbor have over them? Political stability. That is the first step to economic growth. Political stability. And what have they done since their independence? Multiple coup d'etats. Ghana had their run, of course. But Ghana looked in the mirror and said, we have to correct course. The Burkinabés haven't. And this man over there might not be the last. Because that is what they do. That is what French Africa does. They love to overthrow presidents. The same way he came in, somebody else is going to come in. So for me to buy into the Traore system, I have to see some transition to multi-party democracy. And we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen that yet. This model of governance sounds good to the people that are fanatics of rebellions, which is typically Western people. That's why Traore has a lot of love from the Western blacks who thrive in a democratic country. You need to start with political stability. Now, let's say we give them that. Then they have some Islamic issues, some wars to resolve. You cannot develop when these things are ongoing. When the only peace is in Ouagadougou and all these other places. Then economic stability. Let's assume that they are politically stable. And one of the advantages of what they've done is to isolate from France. I support that. That's beautiful. It's something they were supposed to do. Like the Ghanaians have always done. I mean, we're not under the Queen, right? We have friendly relations with England, but we don't hold our reserves in London, which is something French Africa should all do overwhelmingly. So I support that. But what I don't support is the notion that these institutions that he's a part of will yield some type of development. That's not going to happen. We can circle back 5 years from today, and Burkina Faso will be nowhere near Ghana's GDP. Never. Doesn't even have a chance. They're much a bigger country in terms of landmass, but they will never reach the level of stability that Ghana has reached. And the reason that Ghana has this is because of multi-party democracy and freedom. Ghana is a very, very free market. Has some socialist issues around, but it is a free market. You can start a business in Ghana. You can do most things you do in the West, you can do in Ghana. And that has been the case for the last 30 years or so. So it takes multiple years to build these systems. And the hopes that you guys are placing in Burkina Faso, which is still politically very fragile, we can wake up tomorrow to another coup. And that's how quickly people forget about this stuff. I've lived so much closer to it. But see, one thing I've learned about the internet, people don't like the truth. Everybody is hyper, super optimistic that with the help of the Russians, these guys are going to stop the jihadists and build all these mega roads that you see made out of AI. But yet, whenever a vlogger travels to Ouagadougou, I see the same damn dirt roads that I saw 10 years ago.
And that things will be okay, with God's help and the collaboration of the people.
After spending some time in Ouagadougou, it's clear that there's a conflicting reality here. There's the cosmopolitan revolution being endorsed by the government, and then there's the raging jihadist insurgency that's affecting people across the country and even in this suburb in the capital. While this push for outward geopolitical freedom from the West is happening, there's also an internal freedom that's being taken away. People have told us again and again off camera that they can't stray from the approved narrative.
This is the stark reality lived by many in the capital. Mothers, children, and young men rifling through the rubbish for what they need to survive. You won't see these images in the online videos that hail Traore's success in bringing Burkina Faso out of poverty and despair.
Nothing has changed, fellas. I hate to break it to you. Nothing has changed. No. There are no new factories being built. It's not true. It is not true. Ghanaian journalists and Ivorian journalists go up north all the time. There's even a restriction on how you can report when you go over there. As a YouTuber, you need permission on what you can film and what you cannot film. It's heavily controlled. You cannot build a functioning African society, quote unquote, a new Wakanda, from these cool leaders, these rebels, who they are, who took over a whole country and subjected their people to this level of political instability. Again, I know some of you are going to be upset, but don't be upset yet. Come back 2 years from now and then be upset. Because in the next 2 years, they are not going to do nothing. They haven't even put together roads to connect their two major cities. It's still the same as they had it 10 years prior. Ghanaian journalists report on this all the time. There's still insurgencies and all this political instability going on in Burkina Faso right now. The reason you guys love it so much is because they stuck it to the French. They showed the French the middle finger. That's good. I like it too. Okay? I like that part. They should have done that a long time ago. But when all that imperialism is under control, you have to answer certain questions. The development, the education of your people, the healthcare, the infrastructure, none of that is done. That country is nowhere near Kenya today, not even close. It's nowhere near Tanzania's economy today. Not close to their neighbor Ghana. Nigeria is too big. I'm not going to put it there. Not close to Senegal. It has to do better than all these countries for us to even call it a success. So you're being overly optimistic. That's not possible. And it's not even close to my Zambia, which has been so politically stable and should have been maybe the basket case of what good leadership is. Not some rebel that took over a country that maybe some people died in the process and, became the subject of Russian propaganda. Because I know how Russian propaganda works. I used to live in Russia. I lived there for 6 years. I was educated by the Russians. So I know how their propaganda machine works. And for you people to sit here in the West, especially black folks, and think that something is brewing over there, good luck. I've been a student of Africa for so many years. And this is one of the dumbest things that I've heard on the internet year over year over year. And it's being orchestrated by fellow Africans that know this is bullshit. Ibrahim Traoré's system will not work due to precedent. It just won't work. It does not work. It's never worked. And it never will work. He will have some victories with the French. I get that part. I love that part. But that vision of this trial of coup-infested nations coming together to build this vibrant economy that will uplift its people, that's not going to happen, folks. That's not going to happen. You're overshooting it. There's a lot of countries on the continent out of 54 that will get there before any of these three nations. A lot more countries that are even doing more work right now. You could go to Ghana and verify the work of President John Dramani Mahama right now. Go and look at the airport in Ouagadougou. Okay? I'll find you a picture of it. Go look at the airport in Ouagadougou. Compare that to Terminal 3 in Ghana. It's not even close. Compare that to the Northern Terminal in Tamale, the other town in Ghana.
There is one upgrade at the airport that I think I just have to talk about it. Yeah, this is a quick one. A big shout out to Ghana Airport. I've been using this airport almost every month, and I'm seeing a new update, and I feel like, if I don't talk about this, I don't know who else. Listen, when it comes to the security checkpoint, before we had to take off our shoes, take off our belts, take out our laptops and everything from our bags before we kind of clear to go board the plane. But this time around, bro, you do nothing. All you need to do, put your laptop, put your bags, and just wear your shoes, and then just walk in.
Or Prempeh in Kumasi. Ghana's three major airports, including the small ones, are much better than Ouagadougou's airport. They got a lot of work to do. It's not what you guys are making it out to be. You're overshooting. A lot of you are gonna be so sensitive and so mad, especially those Pan-Africans and these strong Africans that believe that something is coming out of. You can believe one thing. I'm just telling you the facts. I want them to win, but they're not winning. They're not winning because I believe in systems. I've always been saying this. You need systems. And black folks always forget about systems. You think rebellion first, systems later. No. You need systems. Roads, infrastructure, science, all that come together under good leadership and stable leadership, these countries in West Africa are not stable. They've never been. The same way Sankara came in is the same way this dude comes in. And that's just what's going to happen. You know, the great Jerry Rawlings mirrors exactly who Traore is. But Jerry Rawlings was actually hands-on, more hands-on with no propaganda, real hands-on. And even he realized at some point in the year 2000 that he needed to step away for fresh ideas and needed to put Ghana on a path to multi-party democracy. That was the only way you can get great ideas from other people without oppression, from other people without speaking under duress, and for other people to be able to challenge your opinions. Freedom is what wins this race, man. Every country, every nation that has been able to do this have been able to do it due to freedom. And for us to think that these dudes can do it with that much terror around them, pressure, distrust in their own inner circles because everybody is trying to take and loot, which is very typical of authoritarian leaderships. I always use Uganda as an example. I've been to Kampala twice, and I went to Kenya. And the difference in infrastructure in Kampala and in Nairobi was stark. But what is the difference between those two countries? They do have quite the same resources, very similar. But Kenya's rise is due to its embrace of freedom. Freedom is the ingredient that makes this work. And the AES doesn't have that. And this is why I don't believe in it. I like him. I just don't like their system. And this is only going to turn around if they return to the Ghana model. Just look south to your neighbor and see, damn, how does it look so different when you just cross the border to the other side? It's like night and day. Do that first. And then we're going to talk. But for now, I'm not into it. Nope, I'm not into it. My principles have always remained the same. Freedom, political stability, freedom. You get those two components, then people can get to work. Any other way never has worked. I have not seen a single nation that has made it work, including rich ones.
Burkina Faso has grappled with French control in the decades since independence. The country is now denouncing France and leaning into alternative allies like Russia, led by their young president.
Vive la France! Vive la Russie! Vive le capitaine Ibrahim Traoré!
French forces and diplomats have been expelled from Burkina Faso since the 2022 coup that brought President Ibrahim Traoré to power.